Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. As the king of the ring, I'm serving notice to every one of the superstars. They're all on the list, and I'm fixing to start running through all of them. Steve Austin's time has come, and that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Oh, wait a minute, look at that! Cheap shot! Oh, no! Stone Cold Stunner! Oh, come on! There you go. Come on!
Stone Cold is the best there is.
As Stone Cold continued to scratch names off his superstar hit list, there was one name that had eluded Austin's sights.
I'd like to use this chance to issue a challenge against one Bret the Hitman Hart.
Bret Hart had been absent for the dawn of 316, and the man who had been raising hell all over WWE.
If you put the letter S in front of Hitman, you've had my exact opinion of Bret Hart. I'm the best there is.
I don't pay attention to a lot of talk.
I'm the best there was.
Especially when it comes from you.
And I'm the best there ever will be.
The Hitman found himself in unfamiliar territory, the crosshairs of the Texas Rattlesnake.
The one thing that's been missing has been me.
But the excellence of execution has never been one to back down from a challenge.
In the Survivor Series, I will face Stone Cold Steve Austin.
You're never gonna get through with Stone Cold Steve Austin. You're gonna have to kill me first, son, and that's the bottom line, and it's the truth.
And if I can beat Stone Cold, then I will beat Stone Cold. The rest is easy pickings for the Hitman.
Son, if you think Stone Cold Steve Austin is a stepping stone, well, watch the first step, cause it's a doozy.
Will Bret Hart be able to prove once and for all that he is the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be?
We'll see who kicks whose ass.
Or will Austin 316 stomp the Hitman into exile?
You ain't got what it takes anymore.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Coming down the aisle from Victoria, Texas, weighing 250 pounds, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
And ladies and gentlemen, here it comes. The man who could unquestionably spoil the comeback attempt of Bret the Hitman Hart. You talk about qualifications, King. This man, Stone Cold Steve Austin, could ruin Bret the Hitman Hart's career.
You know, JR, I saw Steve Austin a few years ago in the Sportatorium down in Dallas, Texas. And you can see the greatness, the potential greatness. It's all about attitude, then and now. An attitude, I might add, that is somewhat appreciated by this capacity crowd.
His opponent, from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, weighing 234 pounds, Bret Hitman Hart.
The Hitman, Bret Hart, looking to electrify this capacity crowd. And everyone, and I mean everyone, are on their feet.
Well, he's back. He ain't no clown. He ain't no trash man. He's a fierce competitor. And so is Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's what it's all about, JR. Wrestling, competition, intensity, athleticism, and drama. And we're going to experience it all in this one match here tonight.
Well, this should be quite the contest, Jerry. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret the Hitman Hart, finally going to meet one-on-one. This is a rivalry that has been brewing for several weeks now.
Well, you're right about that, JR. A long time coming, and it's finally here. Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Rattlesnake, going against the best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. This should be great.
Bret the Hitman Hart, the consummate wrestler, scientific, fundamentally sound. Austin likes to brawl, likes to fight.
Oh, look at this. Look at this stare down. Are either one of these guys going to be intimidated, JR?
I don't think so. Austin trying to get into Hart's head. I don't think that's going to happen.
Look at that!
Oh, my goodness. You're number one in the Hart of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Here they go.
The black heart of the Texan. Collar and elbow tie-up. And it's Bret the Hitman Hart. Well, had the advantage momentarily. Austin now reverses it.
Hello and welcome back to LST Plays. We're back playing more WWE 2K16, and it's Bret Hart's time. It's Bret Hart's turn to get an absolute ass whooping, and what an absolute fantastic looking character model, I have to say. He just looks perfect in this. Previous games Bret Hart always looked a bit dodgy, didn't look like Bret Hart in the face. In this game I would say Macho Man is pretty much the new Bret Hart, doesn't look anything like him. But for this, obviously the showcase, they've spent a little bit more time in trying to get Bret Hart perfected, and looks perfect, absolutely perfect. And obviously they've kept the classic entrance music as well. It's not the new entrance music that he had in 2010. It's the classic Bret Hart stuff, so it's absolutely awesome to see. Bret Hart's one of my top 5 wrestlers. I think a lot of wrestling fans will say that Bret Hart's going to be in their top 5 or at least top 10, just because of the sheer wrestling sort of skill that he's always sort of shown. And obviously, I mean, you know, you can say wrestling isn't real, but there is a certain art form to it. And when you see Bret Hart compared to a lot of new guys, or even a lot of the old guys, especially around Bret Hart's sort of time, he was just leagues in front of them. He really was. He would do a backbreaker and you would believe it was a real, you know, he was actually hurting somebody, even though they were probably even more safer in his hands than a lot of other wrestlers. He never really sort of had the same charisma as like the Hogans and Ultimate Warriors and Macho Mans, but he just brought a different kind of intensity. His moves and what he could do in the ring really spoke massive, you know, sentences that he didn't need to speak. You know, he was never a guy that could speak on the microphone terribly well at the start of his career, or even in the middle, which is I think at around, well, this is towards the end of his WWF career, but later on, before he left in you know, 97, he was doing a lot of work with his brother Owen and Bulldog and stuff, and some of his promos there were really cool because they were actually sort of almost like a shoot promo in a way. It's like almost like a realistic sort of what he's saying could have been real, you know. But he was never a massive, never as big as like Hogan, obviously. But in my mind, you know, he was top 5, if not in the sort of top 3. I've got lots of wrestlers that I really admire and like, just from their personalities and the way they sort of get on, and Bret's definitely up there. One of my first things I ever got, I don't know if I mentioned in the previous video, but like the first sort of interaction with like wrestling was like through sticker book and getting action figures and stuff. And the second sticker book I got, which was a pink one, anyone who was born in the 80s and, you know, obviously got into wrestling in the 90s, and I'll be QTE here, will remember it if they were into wrestling at the time. The pink sticker book, Bret Hart in the front, amazing, really, really good. I like the fact that the game doesn't throw too many QTEs at you. There's one at least I found in you know, every match, but I don't seem to mind them, to be honest with you. They're not difficult, and I think that if they were difficult, it would probably piss me off, because obviously you're trying to win, you know, a match, and as I've found with Bret Hart specifically, he is pretty good. He's like an end level boss almost, because I've lost so many times to the guy. He's pretty tough, I have to say. I managed to get this recording done in one, but some of the other matches I had to go back and actually redo them because he just beat the absolute tar out of me. So it's good to see that they've got some good attributes behind him in this game. So yeah, I'll definitely be playing as Bret Hart anyway in the single player, beyond the showcase stuff. Obviously, I'm not going to give you a full history lesson of Bret Hart, primarily because I don't remember a whole lot, to be honest with you, but I do listen to a lot of podcasts. So what I'm going to do is recommend some podcasts if you want to find out a bit more about Bret Hart, and just some of the background stories and stuff behind even Austin in this period, because again, I mean, I know probably more than you know, Joe Blogs off the street. But in all honesty, you're better getting it off somebody who spends a little bit more time actually researching these guys and just sort of are able to put it together in a bit, put it together in a sentence, shall we say. So one podcast I would recommend highly, especially at the moment because they're actually going through this era, is the New Generation Project podcast, which you can get them on SoundCloud and iTunes and Stitcher Radio. I think they're on as well. I've been listening to those guys for over a year now, and I found them completely by accident. I listened to a lot of other podcasts, and one of them being the Attitude Era podcast, and there was a bit of a gap in knowledge, so I was getting to know everything about the Attitude Era, but I completely missed this era. So from about sort of 94, 95 onwards, and now 94, 95 are pure shite, but according to these guys, we're getting into some good stuff, and I'd obviously seen some of this stuff before that we're going through in the showcase stuff, but I would highly recommend checking out the New Generation Project podcast, and it's covering this era, which you call the New Generation. So I'll put a link in the description below so you can check out some of their stuff. I know that they've done King of the Ring, so you can give that a listen to and see what their thoughts on King of the Ring were, and it breaks down some of the matches and stuff that were in the King of the Ring '96 as well. So some good listening there to keep you entertained. So it's sort of like a companion to the showcase stuff. So hopefully you enjoy that. There's tons of other podcasts I could probably recommend, which I'll probably go into more detail in another time. But for now, just beating the absolute snot out of Bret Hart here anyway. This one thing I liked here is that they grab the rope, and I'm not too sure if they did it in previous games, but like you can see him fully grabbing the rope, which is awesome. I was playing the game before though, and I'm not too sure if it was this match or another match, but basically there's a few glitches in the game, and one of them was that when Bret actually grabbed the rope, they just sort of stayed in that position and looked like they were having a wee hug on the ground, which was a bit weird. But needless to say, I mean, most of the time the game seems to be pretty fine, pretty solid. Just a few sort of, whenever they sort of go, obviously you can see the interactions with the ropes. If I suplex him into the rope, you see his legs sort of going through the rope and stuff, and the rope pings back. And sometimes when they're grabbing onto stuff, it looks a bit weird, but overall pretty good. Anyway, we're coming up to the end of the fight here, and I'm not going to talk over the cutscenes and stuff, so I'll say this now. If you're enjoying the series, don't forget to subscribe and like, and yes, there'll be more of this coming. There's another match I'll hopefully get posted soon after this one, so hopefully you'll enjoy that too. And yes, thanks for watching. See you soon.
What a matchup, King. This has been physical all the way through.
But I tell you, I think Stone Cold Steve Austin's got to be asking himself, what does he have to do to beat Bret Hart? Can he do it? Oh, look at this.
Austin with that version of the $1 Million Dream, but it's countered by Hart. Hart shoulders down, and Bret the Hitman Hart countered Austin and pins the Rattlesnake. Hart has earned a shot now at the WWE Champion.
Man, oh man, Stone Cold Steve Austin had that finishing maneuver locked in, but he wouldn't let go when Hart was on the ropes. That's what really cost him the victory.
The $1 Million Dream cost Austin maybe $1 million. This rivalry is far from over. I guarantee you that, by God.